Sounds good. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to some of you, I suppose, almost. We'll give it just a couple of seconds to let our all of our attendees join in. Speakers, if I could just remind you, if you could go on mute, that'd be great. Awesome. Hi, Carol, Corinne, good to see you guys. Hi, Omar. Laura, wow, awesome, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I see some familiar names, some not so familiar names, but I wanted to just welcome you for about the next hour. We are just hoping to share a little bit with some of the many employers that are out there that are interested in participation in DoD SkillBridge. And so this is going to be a casual conversational hour. We are so appreciative to some experts in this space for joining us. My hope is that the information that we're going to share with you just helps to provide a little bit of clarity in your own processes. Please give me feedback on this. This is something that we are very open to hosting, maybe monthly if it makes sense, and bringing in various employers that are participating in SkillBridge. So I definitely look forward to your feedback. And again, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's joining us today. By way of introduction, my name is Candy Tillman. I run an organization called 50 Strong. We just started in August, and we have been very focused on career readiness and recruiting opportunities, primarily for student veterans. What we found is that through our weekly sessions, almost 50% of the folks that were joining in are active duty and really focused on SkillBridge opportunities through the DoD. And so part of what I found is more service members than ever are interested. The DoD has done tremendous work to facilitate the kind of onboarding of new employers, if you will. And so many employers are interested. So this is just a share session for some of us that work together on a pretty regular basis to just kind of have a chat and share what we are kind of hearing from employers that are already navigating the process. So, you know, here's the thing, navigating civilian employment can be complicated. For those accustomed to military norms, sometimes a warm connection and direct exposure to industry can make a big difference. So I personally have been, after 20 years in corporate, have been working in the, what I'll call the veterans workforce space for 3 years. During that 3-year time period, there is no better program that I've come across than the DoD SkillBridge program in the way that it can provide that direct exposure to industry that is so critical. And so my journey with SkillBridge started a while ago. I've worked in various capacities with SkillBridge. I've helped third parties with placement. I've helped service members navigate. I've helped employers stand up their own program. And I still feel like I'm new to the space. So the reality is there are people that have been operating in SkillBridge for quite some time in various capacities. So my goal is just to help share their knowledge in case it's helpful for you. I would like to welcome our guests for joining today. What I'd like to do is if each of you can take 30 seconds to just give a quick introduction of who you are, your role. I'd really appreciate that, just so that folks know who is on the phone call. That would be really helpful. So Boris, do you mind to say a quick hello, and then I'll let the others introduce, and then we'll come back to a little bit more sharing.
No problem. Thank you so much, Candy, and welcome. My name is Boris Kuhn. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm part of Department of Defense today, the DoD SkillBridge and Credentialing Director. So I basically oversee all the programs on behalf of all the service departments. So as I like to say, I'm here to help. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Boris. Elisa Bennett from Amazon. How are you, Elisa?
Hi, I'm good. So again, Elisa Bennett, I'm a program manager on the Amazon Military Affairs team. And I specifically manage the Amazon Military SkillBridge program. This wouldn't be possible without the Department of Defense SkillBridge program and Boris's help. So I'm super excited to sit on this panel to kind of like just share my knowledge and with you all, and hopefully it's a lot of value add. And I am an Air Force veteran, and proud of it. Thanks.
Joe Latimer, I'll just go straight across if that's okay.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Latimer. I'm the VA SkillBridge lead from the Office of Transition Economic Development at VA Central Office here in Washington. Navy veteran, and we started our program in March after our kickoff meeting in February and after the MOU between VA and DoD was signed. Wonderful. So we're off and running. We're doing good things, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. And Joe Townsend, I'll kick it over to you.
Thanks, Candy. Hello, everyone. I'm actually an Army veteran myself, and I work with General Dynamics Information Technology as their military relations lead. And we started our SkillBridge pilot program in August of 2018, and we're really looking forward to things that are coming. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate everybody being here. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Again, so this webinar is technically scheduled for 90 minutes. We're going to do our best to keep it to 60 minutes. And then we're going to give you some resources for follow-up in case that is of help. I just see a question coming into the chat. So thank you guys for leveraging that. A couple things. You can use the chat at the bottom of the screen to connect with other attendees during this session if you are interested. We host the 50 Strong Employer Connect every week, and we always encourage folks that are joining, if they want to put in their LinkedIn URL to connect with other people that are interested, feel free to do that. If not, that's okay too. If you want to send messages only to the speakers, please use the Q&A box. So I'll keep an eye on this. We might not be able to get to all the questions that come in for the speakers, but we will do our best to get to them. So again, chat is visible to everybody. Q&A is only to the speakers. I do see a question coming in. Will this be recorded and shared? I did get permission from all the speakers to record. We are recording this session, and I will post it to the 50 Strong website by tomorrow. So thank you, Stephanie, for the question on that. All right, so Boris, if you are able to just share a little bit about the overall SkillBridge program at this point, I will turn the floor over to you. And again, thanks for being here, Boris.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Candy, and I'll try to keep it short because I think everybody always wants to discuss more so of what are the operations of it. There's many videos now at this point about what is SkillBridge, and hopefully you can please go to the website to check out more details. In a nutshell, SkillBridge is an opportunity for service members to participate in employment training opportunity. Employment training encompasses the ability to be part of a pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, fellowship, internship, mentorship. It is not a seasonal employee opportunity. I bring this up because we've had instances where we had to come in and provide some. So it's not a worker replacement program. It is an opportunity for service members to get gainful skills, training, knowledge, and all that to be able to become amazing team members of your, hopefully your organizations in the long run. So service members have up to 180 days to be able to participate in the program. What we call the sweet spot that we've seen over the course of what we call the run of the program, it's been roughly about 120 days, plus or minus 30 days for service members. With at the end of the day, this is reliant on several things, and we're going to be discussing this later on with the panel, especially. So I think this is one of our opportunities. I'm looking forward to it. The command leadership typically is a decision factor here. And they're ultimately deciding based on their needs, their workforce needs within their unit, how much time they're able to accommodate for the service member to participate in this employment training, because ultimately they're losing a body on their team. And this is something that I'm always conscientious when I speak to the program, because a lot of times people think DoD has a large budget and they can afford this. Well, the budget is not for employment training. The budget is to defend the United States from enemies from domestic and abroad. And part of that is workforce training for that mission. But part of our mission is also to make sure we return our service members back to their communities better off, or at least on par with their peers before they joined. So when they reintegrate, and we truly believe in that. So I have wonderful leadership above me, and people are asking, well, what's happening with the transition? We have not received anything of sorts that we see that will disrupt that flow. So from that standpoint, my admissions, if you will, are that we will have a very smooth continuation of the program from that standpoint, and our service members should expect that as well. That there should not be a disturbance from that standpoint as well. So there is some peace of mind there for everybody, because everybody has a stake in this program. With that being said, I guess next slide, or if you have questions, pending questions. So again, the value to industry, I did not coin this term. It was actually a predecessor of ours. His name, we refer to him as D9 because his last name was too long. He used to like to say, there's some skin in the game. The skin in the game from DoD is we pay their pay and benefits. There is no indemnification because we are a federal government. We are number one for the industry partners here. We are federal government. We're self-insured. We expect the entities to be self-insured. Obviously, the service member is an individual that comes on board and is there for employment training. Shouldn't be, as mentioned before, they shouldn't be producing a final product. I'll put it that way. They should not be interacting as a representative of that entity. So with those safekeepings, that should keep it clean for any indemnification issues. So with that being said, you get an opportunity to have more than 15 minutes to an hour interview with a service member. You also have access to them for well before they get their DD-214. So, and that's actually been the benefit of the SkillBridge program is for decades now, the issue has been, how do we get ahead of the problem with veteran quote unemployment or getting, I won't say, we say access, but we want to help the service members, or i.e. future veterans, because once they don't have the information, they don't have access to the information themselves. Once I received my DD-214, I wanted to have a job. I didn't want to be looking for a job after I got my DD-214. And I would expect that my fellow brothers and sisters would expect the same thing. So I'm a spouse now too. So my expectation would be for my spouse, my wife, to be the same way. So I bring that I have that mentality coming to the program as well. So it's a wonderful opportunity to, again, have a early look, a longer look from both the service member who's the prospect for the organization and vice versa. The individual gets to see if the culture is the right fit. There's so many factors from the HR perspective and other facets, and it allows both for the service member to get skilled up and right skilled and vice versa. It's much better in 15 minutes or doing a resume scrub. And so for those service members who are on this call as well, it's a value added because you actually get to talk to a person versus being another number. And same thing for organizations versus looking at a piece of paper and maybe a service member did not use the key word and you have a missed opportunity for amazing talent and didn't join your team. Next slide, please.
And Boris, that's a great point before we go on, you reminded me of. For all employers that are on this call, first of all, I want to just say thank you for your support and interest in participation, which means you are seeking ways for your company to be more and more military ready, if you will. I also want to make a point. I had several service members that reached out and asked me, is it okay if they join that are interested in SkillBridge opportunities? So for the employers out there, I do want you to know that we have service members that are also listening in, that are also working hard on their own to just engage in the SkillBridge process, that are actively looking for SkillBridge internships. So I did just want to point that out. Lots of proactive service members out there on this call.
And that's wonderful to hear. Well, next slide, actually, since service members are on the call, what's the access to the program from both sides. We've seen a dramatic rise from the program. So actually, when I came to the program, we had roughly only about 3,000 participants a year, barely coming through. So we've seen exponential growth, as everybody can tell. And a lot of people on the previous slide saw the number 200,000, and they're saying, well, why isn't the number larger, bigger, or what's going on there? A lot of people don't realize, or might forget, when they were, if you're a veteran yourself, a lot of people choose to, a lot of people choose to join the military and want to pursue higher education. And we know that. I myself, that was the reason I joined the military originally. I ended up staying a little longer, but that's okay. We are actually working with transition assistance, because the big caveat for those of you who are service members even, and we're working with higher education partners as well. Within the first 4 to 6 months is the most critical time for all service members, even the ones pursuing higher education, because that's the realization zone that maybe that BAH payment is not enough money for sustainment of their quote lifestyle, or more so needs, and they realize they can't continue pursuing higher education, and that's not good for any of us. So maybe partnering or getting I would say quality employment while they pursue higher education. And this is where the partnerships between SkillBridge and higher education can get stronger, and we can see these numbers rise. So on average, now I can get back to my economic state from my econometrician days. Roughly 50,000 to 60,000 service members state that they want to go be employed every year. So if we look at those numbers, we're doing pretty good. That out of all the programs available to service members during TAP, that right now, at least this year, and the program only being around, I'll honestly say 5 years, we've hit a really good milestone of about 1/5 or 1/6 of that, of those people. We know and understand we want to do better. It's an amazing program, as Candy mentioned. I would love to say we want to hit all of them, but that's also command discretion. And if somebody here is a senior enlisted leader, they're probably going to say, "Oh no," or if they're an 05 and above, probably saying, "Oh my goodness." But at the same time, we should be, myself included, we're always mentoring or developing the next individuals in the DoD, and I would expect the same thing would be happening in industry. So before I left my unit, I would hope I left behind a bigger and better work zone or work department division than I came into, and that would not have been dependent on me being there or not. So that is true or not, but that's an issue that every partner even has to grapple with. But ultimately, we foresee growth, and I know our industry partners always ask me for that, but that growth is also dependent on the industry partner having the opportunities. And I think we're going to get into a discussion about the ability to support SkillBridge. And I welcome, Joe's and Elise's and others' dialogue on that as well. So it's not all about DoD as well. Next slide, please. Again, we did a complete refresh of the DoD SkillBridge website about 1.5 years ago. We're continuously refining it. Thanks to Candy and others, we continue to get hit with, "Hey, by the ways, you should do this a little better." We're open to feedback. She's laughing, I know, but I say it openly.
It's all shared and loved, Boris.
That's right, all shared and loved. But again, we don't want to be in a vacuum. So if you're even a service member or veteran, we have on there. If you have a good idea of how we can improve it, because at the end of the day, you're an end user too, and one of your fellow airmen, sailors, and Marines are there with you. If we're not providing a service for you, please let us know. We want to improve it, because we want to be able to deliver. Ultimately, you're the end user, so we want to make sure you're able to have the best experience, so you can find your opportunities, or we can assist you with identifying the right opportunities. So we did a complete refresh for the website. The best place to go search opportunities that are already existing is under the service members. Go to SkillBridge locations, and you can explore there. If you don't see an opportunity there, we have several partners right here right now. They're still exploring. help us turn them from being explorative to being partners. So sometimes they need you to reach out to them, and we'll start the process, because they might just see you as their next talent and be part of their team as well. If you're an officer or even enlisted, if you do the initial contact, let us take it from there, because there are obviously Title 10 to 18 and other authorities that restrict you from communicating with external agencies. So I'm putting that out there. I'm putting my GCHR hat back on. So to prevent any issues in your ability to participate once you make initial contact or contact's made with you, please pass it on to us. We're pretty accessible, and I think others will point that out as well. Next slide, please.
Hey, Boris, one quick thing that I'll just point out here that I hear often from employers is Department of Labor guidelines. And so I'll just give another shout out to the DoD SkillBridge website. If you have questions around guidance from the latest guidance from the Department of Labor, there is a whole section on that on the website.
Nope, absolutely. We definitely get this a lot. I actually had a conversation like 3 days ago with an entity that's like, they didn't understand. They're like, well, we want them to be 1099s, i.e. contractors. And I explained to them, well, first of all, the SkillBridge participant is not a 1099. You can treat them in this particular instance, they would be treated as no different than interns. So again, SkillBridge participants are treated no different than interns or fellows or apprentices. They're not employees or would not be on your books, on your HR books. More than happy to have a conversation, but as Candy pointed out, if your legal team or HR team needs any documents, we actually put it on the resources to prevent any hardship, or as people like to say, DoD is not transparent. We are very transparent, and we even hyperlink it to the authoritative source for you with our partnership with Department of Labor and others. Next, please. Yeah, unless there's other questions or comments. All right. I think this is okay. The two types of participants. So we are not in. So I'll rephrase this again. I'll restate it again. DoD is not in the business of telling industry how to do business, right? That is not the role of federal government, nor is it the role of boards. You can participate in any way, shape, form you determine is most efficient and effective for your business directly. We have several direct partnerships. So as in the previous slide mentioned, we went from 180, 160-ish programs to over currently we're actually hovering at 500 programs right now. With the I don't know if it might be Candy's fault actually. We just had a meeting before this, and we have over 132 new intakes. So either the economy is picking up or somebody else is doing something. So we might cross 600 before the end of the year. But we have roughly 500 programs with over 4,500 employer partners. So this is not done in a vacuum. This is not done because and the team is scrubbing. It's done in partnerships and champions, just like everybody who's on here. You can be a direct partner, like the ones here discussing it, or you can do it through a consortium or through networks. So that is up to you. Again, DoD is not in the business of telling organizations or entities, private entities or public entities, of how to do business. We are just here to assist you, and we are here to vet the organization and make sure you understand your responsibilities, and then clear you to be a provider. So from that point on, and I think this is a good segue then into how you can do that. Thank you so much, everyone, and I look forward to discussion.
Awesome. Thank you, Boris. So one other thing that I will just kind of reiterate, again, from working with lots of employers that are trying to navigate this process, what I wanted to share on top of what Boris just talked about is, this is probably oversimplistic, right? But for sharing purposes, program authorization, if you will, is one part of the process in order to participate in SkillBridge. And so you'll see here that business alignment, like between HR and business around what roles can we offer as SkillBridge, is really important. Candidate sourcing is really important. Candidate interviewing, command approvals, and all the collaboration that goes along with that is really important. And all these things are kind of have to be done as part of SkillBridge participation. So what I just wanted to share with you is, employers are making decisions every day about what they want to kind of handle in-house versus where they need to outsource, if you will, based on their current capacity. So I just wanted to call that out here. Again, it is up to every organization that is interested in participating to figure out what avenue makes the most sense for them. I'll share that there are some amazing what I'll call third-party DoD authorized SkillBridge providers out there that may be a good avenue. For other organizations that have the resources, direct authorization may make sense. So I'm gonna just see if we happen to have any questions so far. Boris, I'll talk to this unless you want to jump back in. I know you have a couple of other things that you're working on at the moment, but
No, it's fine. I mean, I can. I'm here.
okay. Yep. Good.
No, it's fine. So number one, so some people might ask, why isn't the SkillBridge MOU or anything like that publicly available? Number one, DoD or many other federal government agencies, and even Joe can mention this, we are not to initiate anything with the DoD or any other entity. We require you to contact us because we can't burden you, the public sector, with that. So it's kind of takes a initiative, right? Initiation from you. So we welcome that. So please contact us if you want to become a partner, and then it starts a ticket in our CRM system for you, and that way we can also track you. And so the next thing we'll send you out will be a questionnaire, and then you submit it, and based on that questionnaire, we would then submit to you the MOU that would be sent over to us. And typically, people at the next follow-on question typically is, well, how long does the process take? Well, for us, the process takes 5 to 10 business days, depending on how busy the boss is and how busy. Like I just mentioned, we have over 130 intake forms. I'm going to blame Candy on this one. I'm kidding. I don't blame anybody. I'm
going to say it's a whole team effort out there, Boris.
Yes, it's a whole team effort, and I see a panel is there. So I'll leave my email address for anybody. So again, we had an uptick in intake form, so please allow for processing time. So, but again, normally a package would take us, if everything is available and everything was submitted on a timely manner with all the documentation, once that's received, it's 5 to 10 days. So the biggest piece is once the MOU is received. The MOU is typically the longest thing that takes time and requires your legal team and your HR and whoever else needs to go through it. Elisa is here, and she can probably speak to the great example. It took us 6 months and a wake up to complete that with Amazon, which is important to understand, because and we want that to happen. We want that to happen, right? You want all the checks and balances, and everybody has to understand what's happening there. It's not like we changed the document. It's just, lawyers need to see it. It's the reason they have an English degree. They start there and then go get their JD. My wife's a paralegal now, so I understand that 100%. I don't know where the commas will go and all that, and commas matter, by the way. So I'll put that out there. I did not know how much commas matter. So again, I just want to put that out there. MOU typically takes the longest time, basically going back and forth. And this is where we even get involved, going back and forth, talking to your legal teams, just explaining why a statement is there. Overarchingly, I can just say the most important elements within the MOU are determination clause. It's a white glove, right? We're basically shaking hands and saying, we are agreeing to be partners. We are not obligating any monies. So there is we're not asking, in this case, actually Joe's on the line, so I'll use Joe, Department of Veterans Affairs. Do we obligate you to spend any money on SkillBridge other than the money you wanted to spend? Because we appreciate that.
No, none.
No, correct. So the MOU does not obligate any entity to obligate any funding other than what you intended SkillBridge to be for your organization. So that's really the bottom line. And you can terminate the agreement, and we can terminate the agreement at any time based on certain parameters that are set forth in that agreement. So that's really it. And then next slide, I guess, is step 5. Or not. Oh, there we go. See, it's easy as that. And I guess Amazon's.
What a great segue, Boris.
I know, right? There we go. The 6-month. I'm joking. We've had several 6-month MOUs. It's not typically for if you're a large organization, we've seen so it takes 3 to 6 months. So if you're a large organization, it just depends on how much time bandwidth your legal team has, or what is the connective tissue there. So, and again, thank you, and I'm standing by.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Boris. All right, Elisa, we will hand it over to you to talk about Amazon.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And I did want to add that 6-month process. I might have to admit that I think part of the time there was spent for me looking for the right legal representatives at Amazon, to making sure we're covering all grounds. And so I might be to blame there. So, but Boris has been super flexible working with our team and setting up meetings with our team as far as like walking through it line by line, making sure that both parties are comfortable. And now I'm just super excited to be in this current position to kind of just share how we're currently using it at Amazon. So it's just some of the key questions that I kind of wanted to highlight, and I'll kind of elaborate for each. But currently, how is Amazon using the SkillBridge program now? So right now, we're specifically filling roles within 2 business lines at Amazon. So as you're aware, Amazon's a large tech company that does a little bit of everything. But really focuses on the e-commerce platform and cloud computing. And so these are the businesses where we're looking to fill talent with utilizing SkillBridge. That is worldwide operations and Amazon Web Services, AWS for short. But what my role is, I'm currently working as a single point program manager at Amazon, managing this entire program. I'm actively working in expanding this program across many different businesses at Amazon. So beyond worldwide operation and AWS, because there's many different opportunities that I believe veterans would be perfect for. And so just currently working with businesses to get their business buy-in, developing what that plan would look like. And so hopefully next year we'll have more opportunities and locations to offer the SkillBridge opportunities at Amazon next year. So how does your company resource SkillBridge programming? So as I mentioned already, so I'm the dedicated program manager that oversees the Amazon Military SkillBridge program, and that's just to clarify, AMSB is just a name that I want to slap on as far as like our partnership. I think is a quick way to give it a quick name to reference it. But I oversee AMSB across all of the company to include AWS, and I'm the single point of contact with Boris and his office, and making sure that we're within our contract lines. And what I'm doing is I'm empowering different businesses that I'm working with as I'm getting business buy-in to appoint single program managers with their business lines that I can work with, whether that's helping them set up, what those roles might be to start off with to get veteran candidates plugged into these opportunities, what those training plans should look like, what the interview process should look like. And I'll cover that in a little bit more in one of the questions I have highlighted here, and so forth. And also, I'm also the single point of contact as far as working with all these program managers to collect reporting data, because that's definitely part of our contract, is to make sure that we are providing the DoD with the data that they require on an annual basis. And so I am actively standing up a process right now with all my program managers to make sure that we have a seamless way of reporting that can consolidate in a nice way for Boris to understand and answer any questions or anything that he may have. Types of roles offered via SkillBridge. So as I mentioned to the first point, we are using it to fill a variety of different roles. Right now, it's within operations AWS, and that encompasses tech and non-tech opportunities. And so the non-tech opportunities right now, we're focusing on people leadership positions. So we realize that the military is flooded with great people leaders, and we find that they make a great transition into our people management positions, specifically worldwide operations, to provide mentorship, coaching, and motivating the subordinates as far as like meeting daily metrics and goals within worldwide operations. And then on the flip side with tech roles, so AWS is actually using it, the SkillBridge opportunity, in a unique and really great way. So they have what's called the AWS Military Apprenticeship Program, which is an approved Department of Labor program. It's a paid training program that's open to veterans and spouses. However, we've noticed that there's been an influx of transitioning service member that want to take part in this Department of Labor approved program. And so we do authorize them to utilize their SkillBridge opportunity through AMSB to take part in the apprenticeship program while they're still in service. And so when they transition out, they'll continue their training to fill roles like software development engineers, cloud associates, positions, and so forth. So how does your company recruit candidates? So how we're currently recruiting candidates and advertising is on our Amazon.jobs site. So a little bit of background knowledge, if you are interested in opportunities at Amazon in general, Amazon.jobs is where you would go to look for opportunities and formally apply. And likewise, this is where we're actually launching Amazon Military SkillBridge approved programs as well on the same platform. We just notify that in the title description that this is AMS approved opportunities. And recently what I've launched is a dedicated landing page / website to kind of not only list out these opportunities that are SkillBridge approved, but also provide some more education around, what is this DoD SkillBridge program? Because we're realizing that some folks are still not aware. And we're directing them to the DoD landing page to find more information on how to apply with their service branch. We provide them with information as far as like our weekly webinars. So if they want to learn more about AMSB, I'm in these weekly webinars talking about it every week, and answer all questions live in these webinars. And also on this website, we also provide our one-stop shop. We have a dedicated inbox for all questions and inquiries, so anyone can reach out to us at any time. And we have a dedicated resource, myself included, to respond back to candidates as soon as possible. Whether it's, what are some current opportunities, when's the next webinar, how do I fill out my my paperwork with my service branch if accepted into a SkillBridge opportunity. So we have that dedicated inbox on that website. And then how your company interviews candidates. So Amazon, is pretty, it takes hiring very seriously, and that includes the interview process. And so it's definitely one of our leadership principles: hire and develop the best. And so we want to be mindful that we're not taking away from that leadership principle when we're considering AMSB candidates. So we do try to mirror as much as possible like the standard interview process as we do with any industry candidates. However, we do modify it slightly because we do realize that these candidates are transitioning service members. They may not be up to speed as far as like interviews. This might be the first civilian job, so we modify it to an extent where we are probably making sure that the candidate is a right culture fit. That's number one with Amazon. I'm sure with other companies too. Like, got to make sure you're good, great Amazon culture fit. You meet all, you align with our leadership principles. So we're definitely going to be looking for that in our SkillBridge candidates. But we do keep in mind that the intent of this program, and that is that, we look at this as like an extended interview event. So if we give you the green light to participate in our AMSB programs with one of our roles, whether AWS and operations currently, we are going to be realizing that you'll have that extended time with us to kind of train to see if this is really a good fit for you, and vice versa. This is an opportunity for you. Well, for service members who are dialed in today, it's an opportunity for you to get your foot in the door with a company like Amazon to see if it's the right culture fit for you and if this is the right opportunity. And if not, certainly we'll be pivoting you to see what's another best opportunity. And so that's my role as a dedicated PM, is to kind of see over things and work with the program managers with the respective business lines at Amazon, as far as like standards of practice, sharing that information with them and making sure they're successful, because if my program managers at Amazon are not successful, then I'm not going to be successful. So I definitely want to make sure that I'm engaging with them in monthly meetings as far as like some updates, with reporting or questions that they may have for me. And if there's anything I can't answer, I'll obviously be engaging with Boris and engage with him pretty frequently. But I realize he's got a limited timeline as far as or bandwidth as far as like answering all my questions, and so I definitely try to keep it in. I don't know if we're going to mention this on any time at the call, Candy or Boris, but we do have monthly meetings with the SEAC group, the SkillBridge Industry Advisory Council. So try to leverage that time where we have Boris come in and answer any questions that we have, including mine. And so we have that going. And so just I'll stop there, and hopefully that answers all of those questions. I think I may have reviewed that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elisa. Carol, I see your question. If it's okay with you, let's answer that offline, because I think that's a pretty easy one to answer. But Carol, I do see your question, and thank you so much for putting that in. At this point, guys, there may be some questions for Elisa and Boris, but what I'd like to do is, Joe Latimer, if you could also share with us a little bit about kind of VA's approach to SkillBridge, and then we'll go over to Joe Townsend to talk about GDIT. Then maybe we'll come back to all remaining Q&A at the end, if that's okay. So Joe, I will turn it over to you to share a little bit about VA.
Okay, thanks, Candy. I mentioned the memorandum of understanding that was signed in December 2019. And what that did was authorizes VA to expand its support of SkillBridge, and it designates the Office of Transition Economic Development as the executive agent for SkillBridge, VA SkillBridge implementation. So as you know, SkillBridge is actually a DoD program, so we act as a liaison to DoD. So what we want to do is build programs and give training and employment opportunities to separating service members within VA, whether that be the Veterans Benefits Administration, the Veterans Healthcare Administration, or the National Cemetery Administration. Those are our three administrations. So we provide planning guidance. So what we do is coordinate and consult. So we provide planning guidance and resources to different VA organizations that want to develop and implement their own SkillBridge program. So we coordinate and distribute program information and resources, and we collect data and report on progress. So it's to build a program at, say, one of the VA medical centers that has a need for a certain skill set. So let's say intermediary care technician. And that's one of the big jobs, I should say, within the VHA, Veterans Healthcare Administration. So we've been working with Christina Snell with what they call the ICT, intermediary care technicians, to build programs so they can hire these ICTs within their medical center. So we've got our first SkillBridge person in Palo Alto, came in as an ICT. She started about a month ago, and she'll be finishing up soon. And hopefully there is a spot for her. So hopefully she'll be doing well enough, and she'll be able to be hired into the VHA. And she's real excited about that. So we also have a program called WARTAC, which is our oldest SkillBridge program. And what that is we train separating service members within 180 days of separation to act as veteran service representatives and rating veteran service representatives out in our field offices for VBA. So they actually do the claims work. So they've hired about 1,400 VSRs and RVSRs within the last 5 years. So that's one of our big programs. We're also working with the Office of Information Technology, OIT, VA Chaplain. We just started a program with them, and VA Security Services. So if anybody has, a military police background, uh, whether it be, Navy, Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, there's opportunities in VA Security Services to be a security officer at one of the um, clinics or hospitals. So there's a lot of opportunities where we just help them build programs. So if there's a need for a position within VA, we will help them build their program, and we collect, their business plan, their student agreement, announcement, and we send that to Boris and his team over at DoD SkillBridge to post to the DoD SkillBridge site. And then once it's posted, then any applicants will work through that entity that posted. So if it's a VA medical center, they will reach back out to that medical center and provide, their resume, whatever the medical center asks for. Then they go through an interview process, and then if they're selected, they're brought in for a training program. And it could be 180 days, could be 90 days. It's really up to the medical center. Once they complete their program, then there's an opportunity for employment. So we are growing the program. We have about 13 VA entities under the SkillBridge, the VA SkillBridge umbrella, and we're working with more every day. So it's really exciting what we're doing, and it's really great to offer separating service members, possible employment and training opportunities. And another thing about SkillBridge that's nice is that within that 180-day window, they're still collecting their DoD benefits, housing allowance. So it makes it easier on the hiring entity that's bringing them on. So they don't have to put nothing out of pocket for them. The DoD is still paying them. And what we've seen so far is that the installation commanders are on board with SkillBridge because it's a growing program, and they know that where they're going, they're going to have an employment opportunity, and they can continue working and being productive in society.
That's awesome. If I may, you talked to a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight before we go over to Joe to talk about GDIT, but you talked about kind of using the program to equip from a kind of a headquarters level, if you will, based on workforce needs. But I love that you talked about the various types of opportunities because workforce needs are all over an organization. I appreciate you talking about security. I know we have a couple of police departments joining us today. So I think there's just a lot to learn based on what you've shared. Jeffrey Lee, also thank you for your feedback. And Jeffrey, I see you've put in a question to Joe. I'll let you and Joe circle on that. Joe Townsend, if we could, I'd love to just let you have the floor to share a little bit about how General Dynamics Information Technology is leveraging SkillBridge.
Thank you, Candy. Well, due to the unique nature of our work, we have to have a lot of certifications and, of course, different levels of clearances. So the military is a perfect place to recruit from for us. So one way we leverage our program, the SkillBridge program within the company, is we look for those that have the minimum requirements for the positions that we need first, so that they have to meet minimum requirements of the clearance level. We could bring them to a program, train them up, get them prepared for full-time employment within that training period of the last 6 months of their active duty time. And then once they come on board with us, we have a few months on some of these contracts, on one particular that I'm thinking of, that allows them to get their certification for the IT certification. So if they have a leg up on everyone else that comes to us that don't have that certification, or the training. So they get that 3 to 6 month time period. They have the additional training and prep time, the study for the exam, and to qualify for it. So that's one way we leverage it. It's a great program to do that. So we have a pipeline of trained candidates ready to go into full-time employment. So how we resource it, basically the military relations department, which is me, I do like Elisa does, and I manage the program. I work with our hiring managers to get the information to them. And of course, I collect all the data for the DoD and return it to them. That way, everything gets collected and reported on time and the right way. As it grows, which we see a lot of growth and interest in it from our hiring managers, I'm planning on putting a new person in place that can focus mainly on just the SkillBridge portion. Because we do want to do the webinars and things like that to get the information out to our company and share it. So that's how we're going to manage that program and continue to grow with it. Some of the roles that we actually are doing right now are system administrators. We have some in Reston and Redmond, highly cleared positions that we're looking for to train people in those positions. We have data center hardware engineers and help desk techs, and we're all over the United States, all over the world, actually, in 33 countries. So I got permission from Boris a few weeks ago to maybe get someone on as an intern in England. So that'll be our first one. I'm looking forward to that. We have system engineers, training specialists, advisors, program analysts, information security analysts, and network admins and engineers. Uh, and the thing is, the way we do this, if someone comes to us from the military looking for certain opportunity they see on our career site, then we'll actually try to match them to one of our hiring managers. And so educate the hiring manager on the program and then match them together. So it's very flexible right now. So that's a good thing. And how we recruit candidates, I have a couple of different methods of doing that now. I have one pipeline requisition I use, the post with the job description for the general SkillBridge program. That's posted on our career site and in LinkedIn and other social media places. And that just collects everyone to one place that's just interested in general about joining GDIT in any kind of position, or they might just want more information. So we collect and recruit that way. The other method is I actually got hiring managers that give me their specific job descriptions, and I post those out there as a SkillBridge opportunity just to get the people that are qualified and interested, maybe as a system admin right now is what I'm doing. And we pull those together, and then the hiring managers and our recruiters can go to one place and find the people that are highly qualified and are really interested in their specific program. So it's a great matching way of doing things. So that's the two ways we're doing it. Soon I'll have a website dedicated to send people to one site, and they'll be able to click on any of the opportunities, see them all on one page, along with some of the testimonials that we have. We have a few success stories, and it's great for us right now. And how we interview the candidates is basically the same way, with one additional step. When they come into the pipeline, then I actually send a questionnaire out to them. And with this questionnaire, I try to find out what locations they want to go to, their clearances, any certifications they have, their interest and skill sets, things of that nature. Once I do that, I match them to a hiring manager with those kind of projects that are happening at this time. And then they go through the interview steps with them through Skype or Zoom mostly right now. So that's kind of the way we've been working it, and I really see a big opportunity to expand this program with GDIT. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, thank you so much. I just want to say, as I'm going to pull back up my screen share for a second. one of the things that I wanted to highlight is, you know, these programs that we've just heard about are with relatively large organizations. And so you've heard a lot about kind of single points of contact, resourcing. Um, Again, large organizations can do those things a little bit easier than smaller organizations. My hope is that for those of you that may be with slightly smaller organizations than these that we featured here, that you've kind of come away with things to think about in your process. I also wanted to share that there are lots of resources out there for employers. I just want to say there's a ton of information on the DoD SkillBridge website, FAQs, resources, existing programs that you might want to consider partnering with as far as participation. So please definitely leverage that. There's also, Boris's team is working on a new handbook guide for new employer onboarding. So I did just want to plug that. As we talked about, this is still a relatively new program. And so there's lots of kind of things that we're all thinking about of how do we do our part to support that. A couple of other new things that I'll just mention. There's a LinkedIn group called DoD SkillBridge Industry Partners. It's a small group. We just started it. But if you are an employer that is interested in SkillBridge, I invite you to join that group. We will use that kind of as a follow-up for questions. There's also, Lisa mentioned the SkillBridge Industry Advisory Council. This is a kind of a group of people that are at employers that are interested in advancing SkillBridge and working together on that front. So that is a new group that's just been started. I'd also recommend, I've got a few names of people, some of who are on this call actually. Hi, Kristen. These are just names that I want, if you are an employer that is trying to figure out how to set up a program, or should you set up a program, or where do you start, please leverage me or any of these folks to help in your process. A couple of other resources. You've heard some of these folks talk about establishing a destination for where they want people to get information. So a career page. I've given you a couple of examples here of how Boeing manages it with an intake form, and how Lowe's manages it. So they basically direct people to search for SkillBridge on their careers page. You can post jobs on LinkedIn. And the reason I say this is because I know that many service members have an alert turned on for DoD SkillBridge. So if you post a job and have DoD SkillBridge in that title, then they'll get an alert. Definitely you want to connect with the service branch's points of contact. So once you get MOU authorization, you'll get from Boris's offices the service branch's points of contact. You definitely want to be collaborating with those folks. There's also a LinkedIn group called DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice that you can join and post jobs into. A couple of other things that we are trying to do to just help a little bit in the near term. On the 50strong website, I offer to any organization that has DoD authorization to do SkillBridge, if you want me to quickly list your roles and route them back to whatever URL or email that is easiest for you, we're happy to do that, just to help service members a little bit. Again, there are almost 500 programs. The program has grown rapidly. And so service members are kind of always mindful of, where is there a single listing? We are not a single listing, but we do want to offer support. And so you see that I have other avenues that I recommend service members to also check out. We're also doing recruiting sessions that are kind of cross-employer. So Amazon does their weekly recruiting engagement webcast. Not every employer is going to be able to do that. We do want to help support you if we can. So stay tuned for more on that. I just say, in wrap up, and I'll check to see if there's any open questions in the Q&A, just some things to maybe be thinking about as considerations. There's not a single one size fits all of service members. They are all ranks, all skill sets, all education levels. To be thinking about your workforce needs and how all that aligns. Hopefully you've gotten some information from our panelists about things to think about for your internal resourcing. What we do hope though is that you can participate in SkillBridge in the way it makes sense for you to leverage the amazing talent that's coming out of the military. So let me see if we have any outstanding questions. It looks like we have one question about, Joe, we have a question about WARTAC locations and possibly moving virtual. Are you able to just direct folks to where the current locations are?
Yeah, I can do that. Probably the best thing to do is I'm going to post our mailbox. And so if you have any questions, you can send it to the mailbox and it'll be answered. I answer all the mail coming into the mailbox, so that won't be a problem. And right now I've kind of minimized, I don't know what happened, minimize the screen so I can't answer, I can't get back into the chat. So,
okay. So Joe, what we can do is, I see the two folks that have asked that question, so we'll make sure that we'll get it back to them. I see also a question coming in about the questionnaire and the MOU. We can circle on that. Lisa, you're getting a shout out for your shirt. I love it. So guys, it looks like I was hoping to keep this to an hour just to, be mindful of everyone's busy calendars. We're at the hour mark. I don't see any other unanswered questions in the Q&A box, so I'll give it just a little bit of time. If there are other questions that folks want to ask at this point, please put that in the Q&A box. But if not, we will go ahead and wrap up. And it looks like we don't have any other questions. If this session has been helpful and you think that this is something that would be helpful to continue to have other employers with programs coming in, please let me know. With that, I will say a very huge welcome and to everybody again that joined us. Thank you so much. Elisa, Joe, and Boris, thank you so much for being with us today.
thank you,
And I
Candy.
hope you all have a wonderful Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.